And moo to you, Sion. Moo to you. And who else said moo? Gavin said moo. And doot to Stephen. All the all the weird good mornings. Cable tie. Okay, we can relax now. Cable tie is here. It's all good. Before getting into that, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. So, thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. And it's, we've got an unexpected event this morning. What? Cable tie has COVID? No. I hope that doesn't hit you too much. Yes, we have a rack in the house. There is a fair bit to show you. So, where to begin? I'm all flustered because I came in and just as I arrived, Lachlan was here. I didn't even know he was here because I couldn't see his car out the front. He'd parked down around the back of the side of the factory out of sight. And so I came in and he said, "Hey, I've got one of the pick and place machines up on wheels." And it was at the door at the side of the factory ready to go. And he's already cleared some space, so we've got a path to bring it in. And the things that were in the middle of the floor here, some of them have been moved off to the side wall. And he has to go in a little while. So the very first thing we do is we're going to move that pick and place machine, and then I'll give you an update and show you where things are at. So, cable tie, I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope you do manage to stay feeling not too bad. Jason, g'day from Ontario. Let's go for a little walk there. In fact, I'm going to turn this around. There are trip hazards everywhere. There is stuff and stuff. This is not a safe work site around this area, but let's get back to that. Okay, let's go for a little walk. And this is where we're going to move the machine. Probably only one now. And that is that forklift that was moved off to the side. And we now have a fairly wide walkway all the way through here, which will leave plenty of room to bring the machine in. And the machine is sitting right there, and there's Lachlan. Okay, so I'm going to chuck my laptop right here on this pile of stuff, right about there. And what Lachlan has done is down underneath there, one on each side, there is a board with some little caster wheels on it. And he's jacked up the side of the machine, put the trolley under it, and then sat it on it so we can roll it around on those casters. So we'll get it rolling.
Where's Steve?
Oh, Steve! Lachlan reminded me, I need Steve. He's coming.
Sometimes priorities.
I know. Steve, the foreman / security guard.
Rigger, moving officer.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so.
Usually on this.
Is there okay?
Just
That way.
Alright, now turning.
Alright. I'll push from this side. Yep, cleared there.
Yep.
And now, I think what we'll do is grab the laptop
Yeah, put it on.
and Steve lost his hard hat.
You can take this off. What do you think this for?
No, it doesn't matter. And we'll go for a little we'll go for a trip with Steve through the factory. This is going to be a little bit tight through here. We'll have to spin it a bit to pass the bead blaster.
Got 10 centimetres this side.
Okay.
A bit less now. Yep.
You can hear those little casters
CNC.
struggling
may not be up for 3 machines. That might be one machine. Okay, now we're going to
All
have
right,
to kind
so
of rotate a bit.
we're going to have to swing slightly.
Yeah, actually, probably have to go just forward a
Okay.
little bit and then swing. All right, now can we...
Bring the nose around. It's
Yep.
just touching on this side.
Okay.
That's it.
Think
It's
you're
clear.
right. Just wait. We're just going to scrape the metal here.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, so now we should be almost in the clear. And I suppose just over near the cruiser, somewhere about here.
Down.
Yeah. Okay. So, whoop, shaking it all around there. Yeah, so the thing is that you may have noticed there's no clean room here. So in the short term, what I'm going to do is get one machine and put it in the front room and get it into operation. And the other 2 machines are going to end up sitting out here stored for a while longer, but we'll wrap them in plastic so that they stay nice and clean and keep all the dust out of them. Cool. Thanks, Lachlan. All right, see ya. Okay. Let's head back over here. And I think not just cable tie is feeling sick. I think everybody will be feeling sick after the camera waving around like that. Okay, power it up. Not quite. Tech Doctor said, did you measure it? Kind of. What Lachlan did was got a big bit of cardboard that was the same face dimensions as the pick and place machine, and he held up the piece of cardboard and walked through, and it cleared. But the thing, of course, is that that's not allowing for the depth of the machine and going around the corners. Yes, it did fit. Sion, there is no way it's going to end badly. No way at all. Nothing can ever end badly. All right, Steve can go back up on his overseer's position. His hard hat doesn't really stay on very well. It just falls off all the time. And the funny thing is that it seems to be strong enough that it doesn't matter. It's bounced, like that hard hat is bounced on the concrete from a couple of meters up, and it just bounces. It hasn't had any damage at all. Sion, no, don't think like that. Things don't always end badly in your space. Right. No, cable tie, it's not your fault. I'm amazed that you got the fit so good. So that little orange hard hat that Steve is wearing was 3D printed by Cable Tie, and he didn't have he didn't know how big Steve was. So he took a guess as to the scale of the hat, and it actually looks really, the size is pretty much perfect. It's just that Steve's head has got 2 little ears sticking up, and it's not very conducive to having a hat attached to it. Yeah. Austin, yeah, so Austin is also working on setting up a new lab and has been posting a bit about it in Discord. So, yeah, it's good to hear that things are coming along, Austin. Yes, it's not just the finishing touches, it's every single thing takes longer than you expect. It's needs a strap, yes, you're right. Things like thinking, okay, I'm going to rough in some Ethernet cable from the rack here through to an outlet on the wall down there. And in my head, I think, oh yeah, it's going to take me an hour. And like 4 hours later, I'm still working on it because I've got to get the conduit and get all the distances worked out, and then use the hammer drill to, in fact, let's go for a little walk. Coming around here. So what I'm talking about here is ultimately there is going to be a cable tray up here joining the top of the rack through to the wall, like that part of the wall, and then from there cable can go out anywhere in the building. The cable tray isn't there yet, which means that I've just got this cable hanging down with tails waiting for that to be in place so it can be properly laid and terminated. But I wanted to get the dirty stuff done in the other room, and what I had to do was drill through this cement block wall down there, and so I had put this conduit on here, but it meant going along with a hammer drill and putting holes in the block there so I can mount the conduit, mounting that bit of conduit, mounting that bit of conduit, and dragging. So down here you can see that the cable is not yet properly terminated, it's just roughed in. And so I had to drill a hole through two layers of cement block there with an air gap in between, so it's a really big distance. I had to go out and buy a longer, in fact, hang on. I had to go out and buy this drill bit to go through it. So what I did was I ran all the way through with this drill bit, and it just poked out the other side, and that gave me the accurate position, so then I could work from both sides with a larger diameter bit, but one that was shorter. And then I got the hole through the wall, oops, and just poked the cable through. So on the other side the cable just pokes out. But anyway, my point is, yeah, there you can see it's just poking out of the wall waiting to be terminated. But my point is, a little thing like that, I had that on my to-do list of, okay, I'm going to do this one thing and then I'm going to do something else. And hours can go by just doing that one thing. And in the big scheme of things, it's just 2 Ethernet drops, and it took lots and lots of time. So Sion said, so questions. The paint I used on the floor, did I go anti-static epoxy or anything, or just paint to seal the floor? It is just paving paint, and the floor in that front room is not going to be left like that. That's going to have carpet tiles put on it, because that's going to be my general workroom. So a desk with a computer and all of that sort of thing will be in there. And then the floor in the cleanish room will be, which is there, it's still just raw cement, most of it. That will be painted just with paving paint. And then the things like the chassis of the machines will all be earthed. And I'm probably going to put things like anti-static mats on the floor in front of machines and different places like that. Sausage says, pro tip, you can weld a length of steel on a normal length masonry drill bit. Yes, you can, if you can weld, which I can't. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, Lachlan can weld, and there are welders all around me. Like, I can see a welder just over there. There's all of the gear is here to do it. I do not have the skill, and this was on, I don't know, it was some day that Lachlan wasn't here. So the simplest solution was go out and buy a drill bit. Anyway, okay, now, Michael says cleanish room. That's my kitchen. Yeah. So after the live stream last week, I'm not calling it a clean room anymore. I'm calling it a cleanish room. I'm not sure who came up with that name. Someone in the chat on the live stream last week said that, and I thought that was appropriate because it's not really a clean room. All right, so let's be a little bit more methodical about updates. Now, firstly, listen to the audio here. It's probably going to be a bit hard to tell with the microphones in the laptop, but I'm going to keep talking continuously while I walk into the other room where the ceiling tiles are now in place. So you can probably hear a bit of an echo there. And as I walk in here, you'll probably hear that the tone of the sound changes significantly. And the ceiling tiles have made a huge difference. So that's probably the most significant thing since last week. the ceiling grid was partly up last week. Well, since then, I've put a whole lot more support wires in it because I had people complaining that I wasn't being safe. So it's now very, very strongly supported. I've also got catenary wires in there so that the cabling can be attached to it up above and not have any weight on the top of the ceiling tiles. So there are also some security cameras in place. There is an IP camera you can see just up there, there, and there's another one outside the front door. So if I come outside the front door, you can see there is an IP camera up there, and we will see the effect of those in a minute. So those are on PoE. So this front room is now it is still quite a mess, just because there's all this stuff in it. I'm going to move over to the corner and give you a bit of a better view. So there's still stuff lying around in it, but it is actually really, really close to being a usable room. You can see that on the wall here. Yesterday I put in the strips for mounting shelves. The benches are going to go in underneath it. And you can see on this wall there are all the holes are drilled. So once again, done with the hammer drill. Coming around here. So there's my dad's Hilti hammer drill that I borrowed for the job, which is really handy. And you can see that there are lines drawn on the wall. I measured out all the positions, and the spacing, the width between these channels is exactly spaced to suit the plastic tubs that I use. So there will be 2 columns of tubs in between each of the vertical rails, and they will fit just nicely. So 290 millimeters of width per tub allowed. So it's 580 millimeters of width between each of the vertical rails. So there are a couple of things still to be done. For example, I need an electrician to put another GPO. So we've got a GPO here, which is currently hanging off the wall. That was, in fact, it wasn't properly attached when I moved in here. So that needs to be fixed. And what I want to do is get another GPO put on the wall directly below it, right down here. So what I'll probably do is I will drill through this bit of the wall and then maybe even feed some cable through and just leave it hanging out. So I'll just rough in some cable so the electrician can then come in and just fit it off. I'll even put the mounting blocks on the wall so that it's just terminate the cable and screw the GPO on to the mounting bracket. The reason I want to do all of that and get it out of the way is that drilling into these walls produces lots of cement dust. And you can see on the floor there, that is from drilling the holes for mounting the shelves. And I want to put the carpet tiles down. So my goal is to get all of the drilling done so that there is no more drilling to be done ever on these walls, clean up the floor, and then put down the carpet tiles. Coming around here. Now, I actually have 3-phase power here in the front room, right there. So I don't need that, but it's kind of cool. So we've got a big power socket there. So my plan here, and you can see there are a couple of Ethernet cables coming out here. My plan here, once again, is to get the electrician to put another GPO down lower down, and the reason I want a couple lower is they need to be below bench height. I need GPOs above the bench and below the bench. And then what I'll do is I'll take the NBN network termination device, the black box just there, and probably mount that on the wall somewhere. And then I'm going to run the power over Ethernet. So one of these outlets, or one of these will be a connection into the NTD, which will then go to the router/firewall in the rack and also feed power back down here. And the reason that I want to run the network termination device power over Ethernet is that I want to be able to power it from the UPS that will be in the rack. So all of the network infrastructure will be on the UPS, including the network termination device. That's why I don't want it just sitting out here plugged into a GPO. It'll get its power via the network cable. Then shelf racks there, and glass there, glass doors. And as you can see, the ceiling is mostly complete. I'm going to be a few ceiling tiles short. All of the lights are now in place, and these are the LED Vance lighting panels that Xeon uses as well. And so I've got a few odds and ends. So down here you can see a few more ceiling tiles, but these are like the dregs of the litter, the runts of the litter. And these ones are full size, but they're damaged in some way. You can see there's a corner broken off that one. There's another one with water damage on it. These ones are half width, and this one, they're both kind of damaged. And these ones look good, but they've been cut about 15 millimeters short, which is really annoying. I've got all these secondhand. So all of these ceiling tiles actually look in pretty good shape. They're reasonably clean, but this top edge has been cut off by about 15 millimeters, which ruins them for me, unless I use them in some odd shape. But as a short-term thing, what I might do is cut them off and then double them up. So I'll have like two pieces of ceiling tile in one gap until I can buy some new ceiling tiles to replace them with. And you can see up here there are a few spots where the ceiling tiles have not yet been put in. Okay, let's go for a walk this way. Oh yeah, so I've started roughing some stuff into the rack. There's no UPS in there yet. The UPS is still at home, still waiting to be brought in. I haven't got the cables going into patch panels yet. So the loose cables that you can see hanging down here, what I did was I just crimped RJ45 plugs on the end so that I could plug them in. But this is the excess tail. Once the cables are properly laid in the cable tray, they will come down. They'll probably come down this cable tray, and then they will come through and be terminated in the back of the patch panels. But for now, all of the excess tail is just hanging out with a jack on the end so that it can plug straight in. So for example, going into the security cameras. Now if I can get the angle right here, there's a monitor there showing the security cameras. If I get the glare off the screen. And the NVR is just sitting there in the rack. You can hear that? Welcome to Bayswater. But as you can see, nothing much is plugged in or powered up. It's just sort of hanging out there in the rack, having a, I don't know, having a restful time. So, all through that, I have not seen the chat at all. Austin says, what XRS items are going in the rack? That is a great question. I've missed a whole lot of chat. I noticed that one because Austin tagged me. There is definitely going to be a light switch controller, and there is a spot allocated for that. In fact, let me see if I can find... Where is my spreadsheet for that purpose? Where rack plan? So I need ideas, because part of the point of this and the reason that the rack is set up in that location is so that people can see it. Now, if I go to OBS and pull up, hang on, if I do a screen share, what is it going to share? I don't know. This might share the wrong thing. Let's see. It shared the right thing. That's good. So this is my spreadsheet with the general concept of what's going to go in the rack. And right here in pale blue, you can see light switch controller. So Austin, that is the first thing that's going to go in there. And there will be OXRS light switches around the place as well. And some of the cabling has already gone in for that. But what I need is ideas for other things. Where are we? Austin says, wait until you see the firmware for the WT32SCO1. Ooh, yes, okay. I really do want to see that because my general idea is a, hang on, I see there's a whole lot of chat that I've missed. I will get back to it. Let's just do a quick switch back to this because Austin, what I've allowed for is a place to put something like one of your touchscreen setups. So if I just back off a little bit to give you some perspective. So there is the little kitchenette alcove there, and then the wall there through into the cleanish room. That cable hanging out the wall right there, that is for like an OXRS type installation. So the idea is that there'll be either a light switch, probably a light switch initially, because I've got them and I can just stick one on there. So there'll be a light switch thing on the wall. And just down there is the Raspberry Pi plugged in. That needs to be relocated. But a light switch there on the wall, and that can control things like maybe the lights in the clean room. So if I walk up to here, I can turn on the clean room lights without opening the door and going inside. And also lights to this room and whatever else. But having a nice little touch screen on there would be really, really cool. So the things that you're doing with your touch screen, it may end up right there in a very obvious position that is on full display. So yes, I am very keen to see what you're doing with that. Right. Cable ties, yes, I can see plenty of opportunities for using cable ties. Yes, many, many cable ties. I have a whole box down there with different size cable ties and things in it. Michael says, oh, we have ideas. Cool. Oh, right. Scott, I should have talked to you before doing it. Hang on, I'm going to scroll way, way back. I've missed a lot of chat. Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah, so I've gone all the way back to the comments about the audio in the front room. I noticed a very distinct change. Once I started putting the ceiling tiles in, it really deadened the echo. The echo in there, so you're hearing echo here in the room that I'm in now. The echo in that front room was way worse than this because the whole thing was a small box with hard plaster ceiling and basically every surface was hard. And once I put the ceiling in, it made a huge difference. And the thing is that putting the carpet tiles down is also going to make a huge difference. So the combination of a soft surface on the floor, soft surface on the ceiling should just take out a whole lot of those echoes and make it a whole lot better. There's not a lot I can do about the glass behind me. There's going to be a whole wall of glass, which is really hard and echoey. I could put curtains in front of it, but that takes away from the whole thing of looking through. So yeah. I probably won't do that. I'm going to make best efforts to improve the sound in there, but I'm not going to go totally overboard. Now, okay. So this is going back to the thing about the shelf. So you can just see over my shoulder there the tracks for mounting the shelf supports. And Michael said, was it Michael? No, Scott said later he realizes the shelf supports are 6 millimeters wide. No, I allowed for the width of the shelf supports. The actual widths required for each box. In fact, if I angle this down there, see that row of plastic boxes? The reason that there is a row of plastic boxes on the floor is that I was laying them out to measure them and get all the spacing correct, including the space required for the shelf supports. And the actual space required for each box, if there were no shelf supports, is 280 millimeters per box. That's allowing a little bit of a gap. And I made it 290 per box so that there would be room for all the shelf supports. So yes, I nearly caught myself out with that one, but then I realized in time. Right. Michael Wire said, where would you be without the wires? Yep, we need lots of them. Austin says, yeah, I've been having fun with my space, having existing carpet and using the shop vac to try and keep things clean while working. Now, one thing that has been, I've resisted the urge. I probably could have moved in and started using this space already. I could have put in some temporary benches, moved in some tools and started doing stuff, but there would have been a few problems, including trying to keep everything clean. It's been really, really nice having a space that is totally open, so perfectly clear floor, hard concrete floor with no furniture, no carpet, nothing on it. It's meant that as I've been working on the ceiling, I can just grab a ladder and move it exactly where I want it. It's all perfectly stable, nothing in the way. So working in the space from the top down and putting in the carpet tiles as the very last thing has been a really big advantage. And also because one of the first things that I did was paint the floor in order to give it a sealed, smooth finish, it's meant that keeping it clean has been quite easy. The paving paint sweeps off really easily. So Lachlan's got a big broom here, so every now and then I just sweep the floor in there, and you can see that this is the cement dust from drilling the holes in the wall yesterday. But after the live stream, I'm going to go around and sweep up in there again, and it'll end up being a nice, clean, smooth floor again, and really good to work on. And Station 240 said 3-phase is handy if you want a large UPS. And Incognito says the 3-phase will be to run the lighting for Steve's disco parties. Yeah. Talking about disco parties. So some of you may know some of you may know through the Melbourne Hackerspace a guy called John Boshua, who was one of the early people that worked on LifeX, and the very first Kickstarter video for LifeX, with the proof of concept devices that were made using my Leo sticks. He made those proof of concept devices. And that video was filmed in his house. Anyway, all of that's beside the point. The point is that he works at a place called Power, P-O-W-A, which does large-scale stage production, typically for very big rock concerts or for large festivals and those sorts of things. You know, the sorts of places where they'll turn up with 10 semi-trailers full of audio equipment. And just 2 blocks away, he works just 2 blocks away in Bayswater, and they've got a 2,000 square meter warehouse facility there where they have all of the audio gear. They do things like, and also he did the stage production for AC/DC for many years. So he knows all about very large scale parties, essentially. You know, the sort of parties where you do turn up with 10 semi-trailers worth of audio gear and all the associated paraphernalia. So the point of all of this is, yeah, that comment about Steve's parties reminded me. I've just been working on, well, I was helping him out last week doing a control system for on-stage pyrotechnics and pneumatic control, which is being used, I think, this weekend up in New South Wales. In fact, let me see if I can, I don't even know if I can share this. Let me see if it's possible. I'm going to have a look at where I took a couple of photos of this panel, so this was really cool. Now, can I open this in a browser? Open with Chrome. Sorry, this is going to take me some stuffing around because I'm trying to do all of this from my laptop, and I don't have my normal streaming setup, so I can't just hit a button and do desktop sharing or anything. It's being done in a bit of a strange way. So I'm going to go open file, and in just a moment I should be able to show you something. Where are we? This. Okay. And come back to here and back to here. All right, so this is a photo of the Pyrotechnic control panel, and what you can see is illuminated buttons across the bottom here. So it's got 8 output channels. It's actually got 10 output channels, but 8 of them are run off the sequencer. And there's like a big arm switch up in the top right here. There's pattern fire, all fire, fire time, pattern select, pattern speed, the circuit breaker, and key switch and all that sort of thing. So the idea is that, and this panel is made out of aluminium. So the aluminium was powder coated, and then, was it powder coated? No, I don't know what it was. Anyway, it's painted black, whatever the process was. It's a sheet of aluminium that's been painted black, and then he put it in his CNC machine, and he CNC'd out all of the labels. So that's just the raw aluminium showing through. And then behind this is a Freetronics Ether Mega, and it connects to a whole bunch of big relays which drive different outputs. So it's got these 10 output channels. As the 9 and 10, which are the green ones, are just manual. You just press the button and it fires the relay. Channels 1 to 8 are sequenced by the Ether Mega when you press pattern fire. So what I was just helping with was some of the code. John had put together code to make it do some basic stuff, but he didn't have the display working, and there were some various other issues that needed help. So I ended up doing a big rewrite on his code, added the display support. So now on the display you can see it's got number 1 and 740 milliseconds. So what the operator does, so this will typically be somewhere like at a big rock concert, they'll have an audio area which will have lots of mixers and all of the lighting control. They typically use DMX for lighting control, and this will be in an area, and also it goes in a Pelican case, so this gets screwed into a big tough enclosure. And the so this will go in the area where they're doing the stage control. And what the operator can do is twiddle this. These are rotary encoders. They're not potentiometers. The pattern speed is a potentiometer, and that's just an analog input. But the blue and the red are rotary encoders. So what the operator does is select the pattern that they want, and the fire time is variable. So in this case, the fire time has been set to 740 milliseconds, and that can change. So that controls how long each of the outputs is pulsed for, and that will depend on things like whether it's being used to trigger pyrotechnics or pneumatics. So things like pneumatic, this could be running, for example, confetti cannons or t-shirt cannons, or whatever, or just things that make stuff go boom on the stage. And the pneumatic systems have a bit of a response time. So what they do is, depending on the particular event and what this is controlling, they can configure the fire time and select the pattern. And the pattern might be like a Larsen scanner, or scanning from side to side, or it might be from the middle going out, or it might be from the sides coming in. And they twiddle a knob to select which pattern number they want, press pattern fire, and it goes and fires all of the pyrotechnics or whatever it is. So anyway, that was what I was doing last week, a little bit, which was quite fun. And so I think that's actually been used. It was when I went over to see John during the week. They had a B-double semi-trailer that was parked in the loading dock, and they were using a forklift loading audio equipment onto it in order to, which was all going up to New South Wales for this event, whatever. I don't even know what the event was. Some big festival with, I don't know, the sort of event where 50,000 people turn up or whatever. Anyway, they were loading all the gear for that, and this was being shipped up on Thursday. So hopefully, I haven't actually heard. I have no idea if it worked. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. We shall see. I'll probably get a report this week. Hopefully not an angry report. Now, where was I? Sausage says, I'd put the NTD in the rack. Yeah, so in order to do that, I would need to extend the coax. I am tempted to... I did actually think about that. I was kind of tempted to run coax from that point, bring it all the way through into the rack. But... and I could still do that. There's nothing to stop me doing that at any point. But the simplest short-term solution was to just run the Ethernet cable, because, well, Ethernet cable I can run. Coax, I don't actually have any coax. That's probably the number one thing. Right. Where are we? NTD, network termination device. Now, where were we? Strip lighting up. Yes, okay. So Andrew said, strip lighting up the side of the rack, of course. 100%. This, despite Sion's insistence that practicality must take precedence over showmanship, I am going to have a good dose of showmanship in this, and there will be LED strips up the insides of the rack. It's got to be done. Just has to be done. Okay, Austin. So I'm finally starting to catch up on chat. So Austin's suggestion for things to put into the rack. Austin says, I have 4 OXRS items going in my rack. A fan control system, keeps rack items cool, light switch controller, LED control, and security module. Those are all very good ideas. In fact, maybe I should do the same. Oh, and hang on, aren't you working on a PDU as well? There was Ben sent me photos of a PDU, power distribution unit, that he is building that's going in his rack in order to have power going to multiple OXRS items in the rack. And he said that it was based on your board. So presumably, Austin, you will also have a PDU in your rack. And Austin says, and the WT32SC01 firmware is almost entirely Moin's work of art. I've been making the PCB shields and adding Ethernet support. Required changes to the libraries. Yeah. Stephen says, we provide no guarantees, express or implied, that any ideas from chat will be good. No. They're all good. 100% without exception. Every idea is good. So the standard has now been set. You got to live up to that. Right. Aaron says, just received the keys yesterday to a new 4,000 square foot warehouse space that needs partitioning into 5 spaces, so full studs, suspended ceilings, electrics, plumbing, comms, flooring and decor in 2 weeks. Wow. Okay. That's a big undertaking. I've been at this for 3 months and I'm nowhere near done, and I don't have that much work to do. So, Aaron, good luck. But yeah, that sounds really cool. I'd love to see about that. So, one day into the renovation, I managed to take delivery of all required materials, mark out the rooms on the concrete floors, and build up about 1/3 of the stud walls. Wow, you're going in turbo mode. Yeah. Keen, you got here. Cool. Where are we? Oh, Michael says, I started helping John on the same panel last weekend. Awesome. Cool, Michael. So that is really good to hear. Yeah, John said that he'd had help from some other people that were getting him over the hump. So he faced a few issues, and I had some availability issues last week. So that's really cool, Michael. We've collaborated without even knowing that we were doing it. Right. Where am I? Oh, right. So Austin said that's James working on the PDU. It's suffering chip shortages and parts cost because of shortages. Yes, parts shortages. Let's not go into that particular rabbit chasing exercise, squirrel chasing exercise. So Sion asked, how long do I think I'll stick to my so the question is, how long do you think I'll stick to practicality over bling in my new lab? 5 minutes tops? Yeah. Yeah, you're thinking about bling already. So for those of you who don't know, Sion is in the he's going through the whole process of figuring out whether and where he should relocate, because he's been working out of home. And once again, this is your regular reminder that if you're not subscribed to Unexpected Maker, you should do that. He's been working out of his garage, basically same sort of situation as me. There are so many parallels to what Sion and I have been doing, and there are many differences as well, like differences in the way we came to doing what we are doing. But in terms of the general concept of we're solo operators working from home, doing electronics design and assembly, that sort of thing, lots and lots of parallels. And so Sion has also hit this wall where literally hit the wall. Production lines are long, garages are short, and so he needs more space, and he's just been thinking maybe about moving out. And so anyway, all of that background is, I can see that I'm having some streaming troubles there, but hopefully it's not too bad. All of that is background to the Unexpected Maker comment. How long do you think I'll stick to practicality over bling in my new lab? 5 minutes tops. Ooh, found a place. Yeah. Okay, so Sion did a secret live stream yesterday for Patreon supporters, and I really wanted to get on that live stream live. I've seen a little bit of the live stream, and he was talking about a couple of places, and one in particular that seemed like a reasonable option. So possibly sign the lease and get the keys by July 1st. That's only days away. That is really cool. Yeah. Chip, outside the box, says more dropout. Yeah. It happened last week as well, and I'm not sure what's going on with it, whether it is NBN drop-off or whether it is Wi-Fi. And my suspicion is that it is Wi-Fi. So at the moment, I am streaming from a laptop, connecting via Wi-Fi to an old Apple airport, which is sitting on the floor in there. If I move this down, hopefully the audio is continuing and it's just the video that's a problem. So on the floor down there is, hang on, I've got to do this. On the floor down there, that white thing that you can see, that is an Apple Airport Extreme, and that is plugged into the NBN connection. So I am doing this live stream over Wi-Fi, which is really not recommended. Yeah, HFC, highly fubard coax. Yes, Tassie Bob, I think you're probably right. Now, oh, Aaron, cool. So thrown a progress pic on SuperLab Discord channel on Discord. That's great. So, in fact, what I'm going to do is in chat here. For those who don't, I'm just going to do that and then pin that message. Okay. So there should now be a pinned message, which is the address of the Superhouse Discord. And if you, I'm not going to look at it right now, but if you want to check out the progress pic that Aaron has put up about his space, in fact, no, I can't share it. If I do open that in Discord, I do have Discord open right now, but I can't share it just because of the way the streaming setup is. Oh wow, that looks really cool. Oh no, I will cancel that call for now. That looks really cool, Aaron. That's impressive. If you've done all of that in one day, wow. All right, so Aaron has a nice big space which looks really clean too. The ceiling is very clean. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, the Discord link is in the chat, and if you want to see a picture of what Aaron has done so far, go and check that out. Hang on, I'm trying to get myself back to the correct window so I can see the chat. There we go. Keen. Okay, have to run. All right. Thanks for coming along anyway. Now, where are we? I am going to... phone just cancelled. I am going to wrap this up in a minute because I want to get some more done. As you can see, I am making progress, nowhere near the progress that Aaron is because Aaron is going at superhuman speed. I'm just muddling along and making stuff up as I go. Yeah, as Sion says, Aaron Knox totally jealous of all of that space. Right. Thanks for the encouragement, Aaron. I appreciate that. So I will wrap this up in a minute, but just before I do wrap it up, I'm just going to go for a little walk over here. And so what we've got here is one of the pick and place machines in place. Oh, my phone is over there somewhere ringing. I will call back in a minute. So there's one pick and place machine there. What I'm going to do is bring the other two pick and place machines around. Not today, but they will be done in the next day or two. And one of them will go through the glass doors, through there, and be set up ready to use. And you can see here there is some more space. All of this space here is inside what will be the cleanish room. So to give some concept of the size, the cleanish room, hang on, I've got to try to balance the laptop on my arm while I point. Okay, so the wall will go along the edge of the white right there. That's where the wall will be. Come down to the back, and then it will go along there. So that area there, up to the glass, that will be the cleanish room with the 3 pick and place machines in it. But that whole area I am just using as like staging area at the moment because I'm nowhere near being able to afford building the walls for this. So I'm concentrating on getting the front room all cleaned up and functional, and one of the machines moved into it and commissioned. So, coming back around to here. So by the end of today, my goal is I'm going to have all of the shelf strips mounted. That's actually really close. All of the hard work for that is done. All of the holes are drilled. It's all ready to go. I've just got to bolt the things onto the cement blocks. Clean up the floor. I also need to go around the floor and chisel because there are little bits on it. You won't be able to see it on camera, but there are little bits on the concrete that where there are like, it's just not perfectly smooth. And once the carpet tiles go in, you'll be able to feel them through the carpet tiles, I think. So I'm going to get down on my hands and knees with a chisel and go through and maybe a grinder. I'm not sure what I'm going to need yet. And take off any of the rough spots on the floor to make that all perfectly smooth. And then the carpet tiles can go down. So I don't think I'm going to get the carpet tiles down today because I also need to drill some more holes. As I was talking about before, I need to drill in some holes and just rough in cable for a couple of GPOs and network sockets. I won't terminate them. I will just put the mounting block on the wall and put like a stub of cable through so that the electrician can drag whatever they need through that without having to drill holes or make a big mess. Okay. Sharky asked what's happening with the mezzanine floor. That decision is being deferred because it's going to build the cleanish room using cool room panels. It's going to cost probably about $6,500 to build it using a steel frame with the mezzanines, probably going to be about $8,000. And I don't have either of those amounts at the moment. So I want to build it with a steel frame. Now that I know that's a possibility, I want to build it with a steel frame so there's a mezzanine and I get 2 floors here instead of 1. Basically double the floor space of the clean room, at least, cleanish room. But right now, because I'm not at the point where I have the money or the potential to build that right now anyway, I'm ignoring that question. I'm going to come back to that question once I've got the front room all functional and I can be working here, and it's actually it's a space where I come every day to work instead of a place that I come to try to work on it and fix it up. All right. Oh, NNM said, got here late and usually watch the rebroadcast. Hi from Chicago. Cool. Thanks for coming along. Right. Okay. I am going to go and do a little bit more of the work on this. And I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Oh, James says, I should add an electric car charger when the Sparky is there. Yeah, there's 3-phase power. Okay, just before I do wrap this up, if I come over here. Now, this is the inside of the big roller door, and this is going to be my mechanical and dirty work area. So there's going to be a CNC machine, drill press, big workbench. All of that is going to be contained in that area just inside the front door. Because same as Sion, I need a place where I can do work that makes mess and where the dust and all of that sort of stuff from it doesn't affect other things elsewhere in the space. So that's going to be my dirty work area. But it could also be somewhere to park a car, and there is, so I showed you the 3-phase outlet that is inside the lab. That grey conduit that you can see there, that is the 3-phase feed coming down in and through the wall. So 3-phase is available right here on this side of the wall in the workshop area as well. So putting a 3-phase socket on that could be useful at some point if I wanted to run a big CNC machine or, I don't know, something that needs that sort of power. But the thing is that it would be super easy to do because the 3-phase is already right there. The cable is there on the wall in the conduit. So yeah, that's something that an electrician can take care of, no problem. All right. So As Chip is saying, time to wind it up. Yes, it is time to wind it up. But thank you very much for coming along. I'm going to get back into doing the work and show you more progress next week, I hope. Thanks. Okay. See ya.